Welcome to episode 2 of Chita Chats. My name is Miss Tranchita, and I am the advisor of the Chita Girls. And today our topic is friendship, all about friendship and what affects our friendships, how to build relationships, how to resolve from friendships that have ended, and how it affects our wellness. I am sitting here with 4 of my favorite students, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves right now.
Hi, so I'm Miranda, and I got involved in Chita Girls because I'm really passionate about health and working out and cooking and all of the good things that come with that.
Hi, I'm Reese, and I got involved with Chita Girls because when I was in 8th grade, my mom told me to come to the Yoga for the Girls event.
Hi, I'm Alex. I joined Chita Girls last year after Tranchita was talking about it in Mind Body Fitness. And then this year I got real involved being the executive producer for our TV show on YouTube. Check it out, Wellness with the Chita Girls. Me and Katie, who's about to speak next, co-created these 2 things that are wonderful and amazing, and you should continue listening and watching.
I'm Katie. I got involved freshman year. One of my senior friends said they were going to go paddleboarding, and I was like, that sounds like a fun way to get out of class and have some great fitness. So I did that, and I've kind of stuck with it. And now, as Alex said, we got majorly involved this year with the production side of all the things we want to create for the community.
And Katie, can you tell everyone how to find us on social media?
Of course. On Instagram and Twitter, you can find us at SHS Chita Girls.
And Alex, can you talk a little bit about our TV show, where you could find it?
We have a health and wellness TV show, kind of similar to this podcast, but in a TV show kind of fashion. And you can find it on YouTube. The channel name is SHS Chita Girls. Also, just like the Twitter and Instagram handles, or you could just go to our Instagram and it's in our bio, the link's there. And then, go watch. It's fun. It's good.
It is really good. And if you have ideas or questions or topics for future podcasts that you'd like us to talk about, please either DM us or grab one of us in the hallway and tell us about it. Or if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast or the TV show, make sure you tell us that as well. We record each of them once a month, and we'd love to have you as part of the crew. Well, let's jump into our topic. So, I'm really excited to talk about this topic, and I'm really excited to talk to you 3 about this topic. I know that all of us are friends and we're all on this club together, but you really come from different backgrounds, and I think it's cool how we could become friends in different avenues. I think that's an important part of life, is getting to know and becoming and creating friendships with people a little outside your circle. So I love studying longevity in the sense of what keeps you healthy throughout your entire life and what keeps you living, I suppose, youthful your entire life. So not just living to your 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, but living into those decades with vibrancy and energy. And creating strong social circles and friendships is a very, very important part of your wellness. So I want to start with just a few facts that I found in just different articles that I was reading. So let me start with some of those. So from Dr. Deborah Ubernson, a sociologist at the University of Texas, she says strong social relationships support mental health, and that ties into better immune function, reduced stress, and less cardiovascular activation. From the Mayo Clinic, they say that benefits of friendship can increase your sense of belonging and purpose, boost your happiness and reduce your stress, improve your self-confidence and self-worth, help you cope with traumas, since like a divorce, which you all aren't going through yet, but you may, hopefully not, sorry, illness, job loss, deaths in your life, and it encourages you to avoid or change unhealthy lifestyles and habits. So you could see how friendship plays into just all these different areas of your life. And not only does it affect you emotionally, but it also has an effect on you physically. Blue Zones is a book that is one of my favorite books, and it talks about people who are there for you to catch you when you fall are some of the most important people in your lives. So let's talk about friendship, and let's talk about friendship kind of where you all are in your lives, because I think friendship changes throughout your life. So Reese, let's start with you. Let's talk about Can you talk a little bit about maybe why sometimes, because Reese, you're the youngest one at the table, right?
Yep.
You're a sophomore. Can you talk about why sometimes people your age or youth lose friendships, like the loss of a friendship or a friendship breakdown?
Yeah, I would say like the biggest reason why friendships like fall apart is people like change throughout their lives. Like the start, you might be like have so many things in common. Like maybe it's an after school activity that your families first put you in, or like family friends. But then as like you grow older and like as you change schools, I feel like a big change is high school. You kind of like adapt to a new group. You hang out with new people. Maybe you're not in that like after school activity anymore. And I think like also something that breaks friendships apart are like people don't try to work on like friendships. Like if there's one argument, you just don't talk to each other anymore. Like you're not working on still building that friendship up.
I agree, for sure. Yeah, you're right. You do go through so many changes. Alex, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's a big difference between like friendships like breaking or like falling apart, and then just friendships drifting apart, because I have a lot of friends that I used to be real close with that just like when we no longer have any classes and like we're both so busy that we just stopped talking. And then I have like, then there's friendships that like something happens that unfortunately things just what's the word, like yeah, I don't know, like escalate to the point that a friendship could end.
When you think about it, like I feel like in all the clubs I have 3 or 4 different friends that I don't like go and hang out with after school, or like they're not someone I call to, hey, what are you doing? But like when I'm with them, like in school or at the activity, like I still have so much fun with them. But like
that's the bell. We're in a school. We're working with bells and announcements and people coming in and out. We're just rolling with it.
For sure.
Also, our setup is amazing. So if
my mic is on a Starbucks cup.
It is not Spawn, but if audio sounds a little fun, it's because it is fun.
It is fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it that way. Miranda, what do you think? What are some ways that you can maintain friendships? Like, water the rose garden.
So yeah, I've always been one. I've always had one person that I'm like super close with throughout like years and years. But then I always like I float around and I talk to other people in like different social groups. And I think part of like the problem that I've had in the past, or the people that I'm really close with that I'm loyal to, it almost becomes difficult to stay friends with them. Like, I don't know if it's jealousy or just a lack of time to spend with that individual person. But I think being open to new people and different groups is really crucial to keep, the same friends for many years.
What do you all think about having like good friends or creating new friendships outside your circles? Like maybe perhaps in those clubs that, you meet someone and, you're friendly with. Do you build friendships through those, or do they just stay kind of like on like the social, I see you at this club or this whatever friends?
I think both. Mm-hmm. Like all my tech friends, like they're my closest friends. Like Katie is in that like close niche. Yeah. One of the two. That like that close group of like friends, and that's part of it. Just like so many like hours and hours on end spending time together.
Yeah.
But then there's like people in the club that's like, yeah, I see you there, and that's it.
Yeah.
But like my closest friends are friends that I have made through tech and Spartan TV.
I think like your interests too.
Yeah.
Also determine like who you.
We have something to talk
with.
about always.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely think like it's cool though, and you can like start a new club and like find someone and become really close with them. Like I just think when like meeting new friends, I feel like it's just so much fun, and like learning about someone new. Like I feel like most of my friends I've known since like 5th grade, but now like coming into high school and meeting new people and like learning new things about others, like it's just so much fun.
For sure. Is it hard to make new friends in high school?
I mean, I haven't gone to college yet, but I always hear like in college, like there's no social groups and like everyone's just people and you can talk to like all different people. So I think in high school, it's definitely a lot harder. And like if your friend group falls apart, then you're kind of, you know, screwed. Like you don't really have anywhere to go because you can't break into other like cliques, I guess. But I definitely think in college it's more open.
Yeah, I feel like our school though, I don't know how like it is with other schools or like it's just a time progression, like it's in 2019, or if it is just a Sycamore High School. But our high school feels very mixed, not like this is those people and this is these people.
It definitely gets better as you get older.
Yeah, like I have a lot of friends in
freshman year,
different.
it's very cliquey.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like me being a sophomore, being like the youngest, the one that's been in high school the least. I don't know. Yes. Yeah. I feel like my grade, just talking like about my grade, I feel like we did start off like being like very in different cliques and stuff, but I feel like now like everyone just stops caring about like what people think of them, and like everyone just kind of like becomes their true self. I feel like seniors, like they don't care who you like. If you look at who people talk to as a freshman compared to their senior year, like they're just open to so many more people.
Yeah, our class doesn't care at all. We talk like I know there's people who are really close with some like freshmen incoming, and usually that's like a burden, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I see freshmen and seniors walking down the hallway.
Out, like,
exactly.
Food, for sure.
Yeah, especially as a junior, because I'm like in between all of you. I've definitely noticed that from last year. Like, it's just changed where everyone's more comfortable. They're like, this is gonna be like one more year of this, so why not like talk to that random person that you see down the hallway? Because like eventually we're all gonna leave, and maybe someday you'll meet that person again and be like, oh my gosh, like I remember saying hi to you. And now they're these very successful people, and you can make these connections. And that's one of the favorite things I love about Sycamore and like the community here, is that I feel like a lot of the clubs here incorporate people from like everywhere. Like that's one of my favorite things about Spartan TV, which I'm in, is that there's people from like different areas. There's like dancers, athletes, basically same thing. But there's just people from everywhere. And so it's really cool for those friendships to form, because a lot of people I feel like don't realize that there's people that are friends, and then they're like, oh, like I know you from this, and then the friends are just created, and then people start becoming friends with more people, and so on.
I think that's definitely true, and as the oldest person at the table, I've made like run into friends from high school or run into people from high school and created friendships later in life, and I'm always like, why didn't I not talk to that person in high school? But I understand how the social structures work. What do you think is important in a friend?
Loyalty, for sure. Yeah, I think being able to trust someone, and I think loyalty and trust kind of go hand in hand. If you can't be loyal to someone, then you're definitely not trustworthy for them. And I think it's important to have someone you can go to talk and know that they're not gonna go around and tell everybody, you know, your secrets or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I feel like also someone that respects you, like respects your opinions and like your viewpoints, but like trust, like you can go and tell them something, but then they're gonna respect like what you like did or like your views on stuff.
Yeah.
I think communication, like somebody that's comfortable with coming to you and talking to you about things, and the reverse of that, somebody who will listen to you. And even if it's just listening or giving advice or whatever the case may be, I think is a really good like sign of a friend.
Yeah. We're all people, you know? We have to talk.
Yeah.
It's important that we have people to talk to.
Absolutely. I think that's a great time to break for a shout out.
Hi, I'm Reese, and I'm at Interact Club. We meet every Wednesday morning, but we do not meet every third Wednesday of the month, and we work with the community, and we do fun fundraisers, so come join us.
And we're back. So let's talk a little bit about the end of a friendship. So what are some tools or skills that you have either, you know, put in your toolbox, or you think that other people could use when a friendship ends for whatever reason? If perhaps maybe that person moved away, or if that person graduated, or sometimes friendships come to an end. But what are some ways that maybe you have dealt with that, or some things that you could recommend for others who go through friendships that no longer are going forward. Alex, let's start with you.
I think for friendships like that are if you feel like they're starting to slide, like really take an inventory of like why this person is either good for me or not good for me. Like I had a good friend for a while, and this was like a while ago that we stopped really talking, but we were really close, but I would always like want to do things and do whatever, and we'd make plans, but then I would always get canceled on, and it was just frustrating. And like I just always was like, yeah, it's whatever, they're busy, it's okay, or they forgot, whatever. And then one day, like when I kind of realized like, oh, this is kind of just a me thing, like sometimes they go hang out with other people when we had plans, I was like, do you just cancel on me because I'm not gonna get mad? And they're like, yeah, like that's basically it. I'm like, cool. So then I was like and
so
eventually
what did you do? So did you, because that could be lonely when people cancel plans on you, or that could be sad, like what did you do to like, you know, move yourself forward in other friendships or you know?
I definitely think it allowed me to get closer with other people, because I always was like, they're my number one, I'm gonna stick with them. But then I was like, okay, this isn't good for me, this isn't healthy, and they don't care that much about this friendship as much as I do.
That's hard.
So yeah, it allowed, but I think it was good because it allowed me to get closer to who I'm closest with now.
Yeah.
But it was a weird time.
Yeah.
That's a mature way to think about it, though. You know, like it might not be working with this one person, but you have the opportunity to branch out with other people. So that's like a good, you know, optimistic outlook.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Reese, how could we make new friends? How, like, if some, you know, relationships don't work out, how could you make new friends?
I think it's like this as simple as saying hi to them in the hallway, like texting them. We're all on social media. Like their photo on Instagram, comment, like, I don't know, like, I feel like that's how this year I've started like making new friends. And I feel like it's just by like simple things, saying hi to them in the hallway, or even like asking them to hang out, be bold, like just ask them, be like, you want to grab ice cream, like something super simple. And I feel like it can lead to so many new things. Like me and a group of girls, they asked, do you want to go to the apple orchard? And ever since we've gone, like we've all been texting each other, and it's just like a way to open up new friendships.
That's cool.
I love that. What? Oh no, I like that.
I do too. Do you think that social media has an effect on friendships?
Yeah, I think it can be good or bad. I think it allows all of us to, you know, be connected, but also people can be fake. Like very fake. Like you said, like commenting on pictures. Sometimes, you know, there's someone you don't necessarily like and they comment and you're like, why are you doing that? And it can either be like good intentions or bad intentions, but so it's hard to tell. But I think with the people that you're truly close with in like real life, then it can definitely have a good impact.
I feel like if we all just stop using social media as in like a negative way, I feel like it could, like, I don't know, like it could be used for like a greater purpose than it already is. Like if everyone just stops like social media bullying and stuff like that, I feel like we could just make it could evolve so much, basically.
Yeah.
I agree, for sure.
Yeah, it's so tough. It's so tough because social media is this, we talked a bit about this last time, like this wonderful thing that connects all of us, but it also could be like this dark thing that like breaks us apart. And it also leads sometimes to social isolation. So, you know, Reese, how many followers do you have on Instagram?
I have no
Can you give
idea.
us a rough number?
Probably like 1,000.
Okay, 1,000, and that's like, oh my gosh, I have 1,000, and you have plenty of friends. I'm not saying that, but like sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, all my friends like I have on Instagram. But then, is it maybe a false idea of like a what? Oh, you just looked up on Reese's. We just pulled up Reese's Instagram live. Reese is get it, Reese. 1,700 followers. All right, that is insane, Reese.
That's awesome.
Oops.
All right.
She's an influencer.
So, I know that's so our very own Instagram influencer.
Yeah, go follow my Instagram.
That's so funny. Shout out to Reese's Instagram. Okay, but do you think that perhaps sometimes that's like Do you think that sometimes all these friends on social media leads to social isolation?
Yes. Like
From who?
wait.
So I suppose so from the so when you follow someone and they follow you back, that gives you a follower / friend, perhaps we could say, right? But that's not truly a friendship that you're building like a relationship with. So do you think that could lead to like some people isolating themselves away from like a true in-depth friendship where someone is like supportive and caring and offers them?
For sure. Yeah. I feel like it's different between a friendship and like a friend on Instagram or something.
A follower.
Yeah. Like I feel like it's not really a friend, it's a follower. I feel like to actually like become true friends or like build a friendship or relationship, it needs to be not just through social media. Or if it is, it's like actually talking on the phone, not like texting. I feel like texting or like commenting on someone's like post or something are two different things. I feel like if you actually talk to someone and like hear their voice almost. I feel like texting, like everyone texts now. No one calls each other on the phone anymore to have a conversation. I feel like that's what could build a friendship, but not like just seeing each other's posts.
Yeah, and I think with that, especially with texting, you can come off differently than what you intend. So like I recently had a situation where there was a bit of a fallout and we had like a disagreement. So my initial like reaction was to text them. So I send, a paragraph or a novel, I guess you can say, and I get one back and whatever. And then I offered to meet in person and I was declined. So I think that it can sometimes lead to a fear of confrontation and you're able to hide behind a screen and like you don't know what anyone's intentions really are, especially with social media.
Yeah, you lose the essence of a person too. Like if it's so hard sometimes, even just saying like, "Hey, what's up?" Like you don't understand like someone's energy behind that or intention behind that. So
Creepy. It can be a creepy hey. It can be want to go get coffee.
So what is the power of friendship? What does it have? How does a friendship have an effect on your wellness in your life? What do you think?
I think one of the most important things about friendship is just like communicating. And my dad has always told me like some of the best friendships are the ones that you talk to them now and then like 5 years later, like you haven't talked to them and you talk to them and it feels like it's been like the same day. It's the friendships that you can go back to and it's like you never left that I think are the most important. So I think what are some ways to focus on finding those people that you can keep going back to?
Childhood best friends, for sure. Yeah, I know my one friend, I mean, like, we're basically sisters. We don't really talk much anymore, but when we do, it's like, you can tell we're basically related at this point, just because we know each other. Her mom is like my mom. So I think that's really important. And even if it's like a newer friendship, I think you can still like build that, like the trust and loyalty of that person.
Going off of what Miranda said, like my best friend, like everyone's like, you're not friends, you're like sisters. Like you act like I could go hang out with her family even if she's not there or something like that. And I feel like it's just like memories and being with each other for a while. That's like when you can go back to a friendship. I feel like sometimes we have our disagreements and like we won't talk to each other for a week and then we'll see each other in the hallway and it'll be like we never even fought. Like it's someone that you can go back to and like have a disagreement, but still at the end of the day, you guys know you care for each other and you still love each other just as much.
Yeah, like I'm not super close with who I was closest with like in elementary school or anything, but like I have a few friends that like we were friends with in elementary school and then didn't talk because we were like on different teams or something in middle school, and then in high school we reconnected and now we're super close. But yeah, I think just like remembering why you're friends with them is a good way to stay friends with them even if you're not in constant communication.
Absolutely. So what is the power of friendship?
So I know like when I have a big group of friends, sometimes it always fades in and out. Like if I have a smaller group or a bigger group, but just like anybody that I can talk to, I always end up being more outgoing and I'm more willing to like get out of my house and stop, laying in my bed all day. So I think it's motivating to have friends just because you feel more empowered it's empowering.
I feel like it also like brings relief off your body. Like you're not keeping in so much, and like just telling someone, even someone random, telling them something about like what's going on in your head, like it just brings so much relief and so much, it's like a stress reliever. I don't know, talking for me at least.
Friends are your own personal therapists.
Exactly.
I love that.
But they're
Yeah.
free.
Yes. That best part. Yeah, I think just friends that support each other, I think is just, it's good to know that even if you don't need anybody behind you at every given moment, every
You said it right.
just knowing that there's somebody there or multiple people that will be there for you if you need them, if something happens or you're just stressed about whatever and ever. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, Katie.
Even if like they don't know what's happening, like if they're not in the situation, but they'll still like have your back and support you and like help you with anything you need. So like if something bad's going on, you can talk about it to them, even if like they don't know the people or don't know the situation. They still will like tell you like it's okay, like keep your head up, you're gonna do great. And just kind of always have your back in that sense, I think is one of the best things about friendships.
Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about a video that I watched kind of prepping for this, but I want to ask y'all a question first. And you could be honest and just tell me what it is, what you think. So I'll start with Katie. I want you to answer this too. What would bring you true, long-lasting happiness in your life?
True, long-lasting happiness. Wow, that's a big one. I think honestly the thing that would bring the most happiness is just having friends. Like the whole thing we're talking about, like friends just make or break life, because having someone to share your success with, I think is one of like the nicest things to do. Because I mean, I don't know, like what would you do if like you're just going through life yourself? Like it would be so boring, like yay, I got this, but I don't have anyone to share it with or experience like memories with. You have like the most important thing in life are the people, I believe, and the relationships and friendships you make.
Alex?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Building off of that, I think like peace of mind, like always having those people, or like having those people to back you up, like I was saying before, and just knowing that there are people that care about you, and there are people that you can go to no matter what, and that you could always share your memories with, even if they weren't there, just people to share things with.
I think that like building new relationships with new people and like meeting new people and like being kind to everyone, I feel like that's what like makes me the happiest. And I feel like if I continue to do that, or like continue to give small compliments to people, or receive, like I feel like if you give a compliment, you always receive one back or something like that. I feel like that just like always brightens my day or something. So I feel like continuing to do that. Miranda?
So for me, I think it kind of starts with like self-love, and then venturing out and giving that love to other people. And like Reese said, complimenting people. It's, you feel better about yourself when you compliment someone else. It's like this weird give and take, but I think that's super empowering for people.
Yeah, the other day I was walking down the hallway. I think I was actually going to Mind and Body. And I guess my friend, like we're nice to each other or whatever. I was like, hey, like your hair looks really nice. Like in my head, I was like, I can just say that. Like people love compliments. And then we had like a short like interaction back and forth where I was like, why didn't I just say that? Like I'm going to come out and give you a compliment. And she's like, yeah, like why don't people just like give each other compliments? Like everyone loves them. But just like, why don't you do it? Like there's nothing that should be holding you back.
For sure. So I want to tie a little bit back to longevity, health, and happiness. Before that, why don't we take a break for a shout out?
Tech Club, or the Technical Entertainment Crew, is the theater production club here at SHS. We do set building, we put on shows, we do a lot. It's really fun. If you're interested, you could contact D. Olsen at syc427.org. Or if you see any tech members that you know are in it, or even cast members, hit them up.
And we're back. So the reason I asked you all that question is because I watched this TED Talk about the study of happiness and what makes people the happiest, right? And when they asked people initially what would make them the happiest, they mostly said fame and fortune, so money, wealth, things. They all talked about things. But when they studied them in, over time, they took them from, I think maybe later in their teen years, all the way up to their 70s, 80s, and 90s. The happiest people who reported they were happiest through their life were the ones who had the strongest relationships in their life. Now, they reported being the happiest people, but they were also the healthiest people. So the healthiest people in their minds, and I mean that in the sense of Alzheimer's and who had the best memory retention. I mean that in their hearts, as who felt fulfilled in their hearts, and who also were at lower risk of cardiovascular diseases, things like diabetes. So friendships and relationships not only gave them this sense of happiness and fulfillment, but also kept them physically health, kept their body stronger than those who were socially isolated. So I feel so strongly on this topic of friendships and friendships throughout the life. And I think that sometimes it's hard to make friends, keep friends as you move through life and go through changes. And I'm so happy to hear all of you just talk about how important you value friendships and how powerful all of them really are.
I moved in the middle of 6th grade, and there was the last day before I moved. It actually was just like a snow day the day before. So like everyone was like annoyed that we were at school. And I was like, oh. But we went into the library and like people like signed like I think it was like my notebook or something. I don't even remember. But it was so interesting to me, the people that like wrote in it and were like, oh, bye, like I'll miss you. And then now like years later, like sometimes I'll see people because I moved from Elgin. So we see them during like sports and other events. Mm-hmm. But the people that still say hi to me and like still treat me as a friend is really interesting. Because sometimes the people that you thought were like your friends are definitely not. So sometimes I think it's almost good to take a step back and like look at if you're really in a dire situation where you need someone to back you up, like how will they respond? Because now there's even people where they were like, oh my gosh, like you were such a great person. I'm like, I literally talked to you like 2 times. Like, why did I not talk to you more? Mm-hmm. So I think just opening your horizons and like talking to different people sometimes can change your perspective, not necessarily in a bad way towards other people, but just to see who like you mesh with the most and who you feel understands you and can understand how you're going through. I recently met a person that it feels like we've known each other for years, but we literally met like a week ago. And she came to a party, shout out to you, Maddie. And everyone was like, oh, like, how do you know each other? And we're like, well, we just met each other like 2 days ago. And then you know so much about them. So just like opening up to different people and just sometimes you realize how similar your lives can be. So that's really helpful.
How, in your experiences, have people that either you were friends with or people that you weren't friends with, how has your view or perception of them changed seeing them in a different situation or a different setting than you're normally used to?
So I think that like friends I used to like, I'm not going to say like hate, but disliked in like middle school or something. And like, it was because I was too quick to judge them and like, or they were too quick to judge me. But like in everything, I feel like when you're younger, everything's such a big deal. Like she wore the same outfit as me or something, like something little could make you dislike someone so much. And it could keep like, I don't know, someone I did not like in like middle school or something, I could easily still not like in high school, and I just don't know the reason why. So I feel like just like getting past the reason, like there's this one girl, she's like one of my best friends. I did not like her when we were growing up, and now all of a sudden like we just laugh about it. I feel like to have like be open about it and like make it a joke, I feel like is also something like I feel like everyone does, but it just like lightens the mood sometimes too.
Yeah, I think middle school especially, everyone has that person that they're like enemies with. I know there was one girl, she was a teammate of mine on the volleyball team, and she would scream at me on the court, and we just hated each other. We were like enemies. And now we laugh about it, just like, you know, like Reese said. Mm-hmm. It's a good way to bond over your hatred of each other.
It sounds bad, but I feel like everyone does it, and it like ask anyone, everyone's gone through something like that.
Yeah, that's initially where this question came from, because like me and my best friend, like number one best friend, Tori, I hated her in middle school just by association because I had a few friends that were like, yeah, we don't like her. Like, she's mean. We don't like her. So I just was like, okay, cool. I don't like her either. She's the worst. But then she joined tech freshman year. I'm like, what's she doing here? And now we constantly talk. We work in the same place, and we're the best of friends. So I think just seeing her in a different setting and actually getting to know her definitely changed a lot, obviously. And I think it could be in the reverse too, because I've had friends that like, oh yeah, they're cool, they're great. And then it was like, oh, I see you over here now and you're doing that, or that's how you're acting to this something. And that's, maybe I don't want to be your friend.
I think one of the main takeaways that you're trying to say, just to clarify everything up, is that you shouldn't be judging people based on what others think of them, or like in certain situations. You really need to get to know them in like a comfortable situation, because I feel like sometimes you might see someone when they're not doing their best, or maybe they're had like a horrible day and you're like, wow, that person's so rude, so mean. Like working at a grocery store, I see some people and I'm like, wow, you're awful. But then I'll like see them another day and they're like, oh, thanks for doing that or whatever. And you're like, wow, like it just really depends on the situation you're in. So really take that into account when you meet people.
Or like when people say like you should never get married until you travel with the person, because just like that's a whole different thing than everyday life. I think it's kind of like that, where like people are much different in other situations that can drastically change
For sure. And
the
we're all
dynamic.
Granted, we all have like our own opinions. So like we have that for ourselves. So you shouldn't allow others sway your own.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, I feel like younger, you always just take other people's viewpoint. Maybe they have something that happened between them, but that never happened between you and the other person. Like, don't take their viewpoints and make your own viewpoint. Like, you have to get to know the person before you have like judgment on them or something.
Yeah. So I think honestly, one of the biggest things is to make sure you see other people's perspectives, because that's some of the coolest people I've met, and like the coolest things I've learned is from different people's perspectives. So I guess we should probably wrap it up. So what are your guys' perspectives with some quotes on friendship? I'll start with mine. So I found this quote. It says, in life, you will realize there is a role for everyone you meet. Some will test you, some will use you, some will love you, and some will teach you. But the ones who are truly important are the ones who will bring out the best in you. They are rare and amazing people who remind you why it's worth it.
I'm going to go with mine. Mine says, friendship multiplies the good of life and divides the evil.
So the quote I found on Pinterest says, stay close to people who feel like sunlight.
A real friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out. And that's fun. It has two people walking together.
I like all those. And I didn't Google one. I didn't think of one. But I have one that just popped in my head, and it's by Oprah. And she says to find people in your life who will not only ride in the limousine with you, but who will ride the bus with you when the limousine breaks down. So I think that's a pretty good way to wrap it up. And I'm so proud sitting around this table just to hear all of your thoughts and feelings. And I feel so lucky to be able to sit here and be with all you leaderships and all your officers. And y'all are great.
You feel lucky to be with you, Tranchita.
Wow.
Especially with this banana bread.
Yes. If anyone wants the banana bread, DM us.
The banana bread is why everybody comes.
All right. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments or ideas for future topics to talk about on the podcast, DM us at SHS Cheetah Girls, or you could email us at shscheetahgirls@gmail.com.
Or you can talk to us face to face.
Yeah, come find us in the halls.
Make friends with us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your friend.
Yes.
We're always open to talk.
Absolutely.
I will talk to anybody that talks to me.
Yeah, we literally just talked for an hour, and I think we could go
For real,
for like
yeah.
4 more.
I'll talk to you if you don't talk to me. Just walk away. It's okay. I'll be your friend if you're not mine.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.
Oh, hashtag be a cheetah.
Woo!
Yeah.